Ladies, let's talk about something that affects 1 in 10 women but somehow gets ignored like a red flag in a toxic relationship. PCOS. Have you ever felt like your period is playing hide and seek? Or noticed hair growing in all the wrong places but disappearing where you actually want it? Or maybe you eat like a nutritionist but the scale just keeps creeping up? Well, congratulations! You might be unknowingly part of the PCOS club. If your period has ever ghosted you, hit that like button. And if you've ever found a random chin hair in the mirror, drop a comment below. Let's see how many of us are in this together. PCOS sounds like some high-tech medical term, right? But let's break it down simply. It's basically your body deciding to go off script. Imagine your ovaries as a well-organized factory, producing hormones like estrogen and progesterone in perfect harmony. But with PCOS, instead of following the plan, your ovaries decide to flood the system with testosterone. Yes, the male hormone. This leads to hormonal chaos. And what does all this hormonal drama cause? Symptoms you might not even realize are connected to PCOS. You ever feel like your body is acting like a rebellious teenager? Skipping periods, breaking out like it's high school all over again, or suddenly growing a mustache you never signed up for? PCOS, a condition that affects millions of women, but so many don't even realize they have it. Have you ever sat there scrolling through Google at 2 a.m. convinced you have every illness under the sun? Well, let's get real. Googling, "Do I have PCOS?" isn't going to give you an answer. But here's what might. The first phase of PCOS is sneaky. It doesn't hit you all at once. In fact, many young women experience mild symptoms that they brush off, thinking, "Oh, my body's just weird." Signs most women overlook. Irregular or missing periods. Did I have my period this month? Or was that last month? Or 3 months ago? Unexplained weight gain. How did I gain 10 pounds when I barely changed my diet? Random acne flare-ups. Why do I have pimples like I'm 15 again? Extreme fatigue. I slept 9 hours. Why do I feel like I got hit by a truck? Real-life case. Anna's story, 16 years old. Anna was an athlete in high school, always running, always active. Then, out of nowhere, she started gaining weight. No matter how much she trained, the pounds wouldn't budge. Her skin broke out and her periods became unpredictable. When she told her doctor, they said, "It's just stress." But years later, she finally got diagnosed with PCOS. Real story. Kayla, 19 years old. Kayla had always had clear skin, but when she hit 19, her face suddenly exploded with cystic acne. At first, she thought it was just stress from college, but then her period started becoming unpredictable. 1 month it was there, the next month, nowhere to be found. Then came the exhaustion. No matter how much she slept, she always felt drained. When she finally went to a doctor, she was told it was just normal hormonal changes. Spoiler alert, it wasn't just normal, it was PCOS, and she had no idea until years later when she fought to get tested. See, the thing with PCOS is that it starts quietly. Your body is slowly giving you clues, but are you paying attention? At first, PCOS whispers, then it screams. This is when symptoms become impossible to ignore. At this stage, things start getting more obvious. Your body is waving red flags like crazy, saying, "Hey, something's wrong." Key symptoms. In this stage, more severe irregular periods, sometimes skipping 2-3 months. Facial hair growth, not just peach fuzz, but noticeable hair on the chin, upper lip, and even chest. Uncontrollable cravings and energy crashes. Feeling like you need sugar, but then crashing right after. Hair thinning on the scalp, but growing in places you don't want it. Severe acne and oily skin, struggling to get pregnant. Real-life case. Jessica's story, 22 years old. Jessica was in college when she first noticed dark hair growing on her chin. At first, she laughed it off, joking she was turning into a werewolf. But when she realized she was also exhausted all the time and constantly craving sugar, she knew something was off. A visit to the doctor confirmed PCOS, but by then she had already developed insulin resistance. Real story. Lisa, 24 years old. Lisa was always on the thinner side. But in college, things changed. She gained 30 pounds, fast. She shaved her chin every few days, but the hair kept coming back thicker. She went to 3 different dermatologists for acne, and not one asked about her hormones. It wasn't until she tried to get pregnant at 24 that she found out she had PCOS all along. PCOS doesn't just affect your looks. It affects your entire life, including your chances of having kids. By the time most women recognize their symptoms, PCOS has already taken hold, but it's not too late. Early diagnosis is key. If any of this sounds like you, don't panic, but do pay attention, because the next phase, it's where things get serious. PCOS isn't a one-time event. It's a chronic condition that can worsen over time if not managed. So what happens if you ignore it? The symptoms don't just stay the same, they get worse. How PCOS progresses. Over time. Insulin resistance develops, making it harder to lose weight and increasing diabetes risk. Fertility issues worsen. Ovulation becomes rare, making pregnancy difficult. Heart disease risk increases. High cholesterol and inflammation put stress on the heart. Mental health struggles. Anxiety and depression become more common. Real story. Michelle, 35 years old. Michelle ignored her symptoms for years. When she hit 35, she was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. She'd been trying to get pregnant for years with no luck. When she finally saw an endocrinologist, she found out PCOS had been the root cause all along. If she had caught it sooner, she could have taken action earlier. This isn't to scare you, it's to empower you. You don't have to wait until it gets this bad. So, what can you do? If you suspect you have PCOS, here's what you can do today. Steps to getting properly tested. 1. Track your symptoms. Keep a journal of missed periods, hair growth, weight changes, mood swings. 2. Ask for a full hormone panel, not just basic blood work. Request testosterone, estrogen, insulin, and DHEA levels. 3. Request an ultrasound. Even if you don't have cysts, other PCOS symptoms matter. 4. Find a doctor who actually listens. If one dismisses you, find another. And if you get diagnosed, don't panic. There are ways to manage PCOS and take back control of your health. So, let's say you're finally at the doctor's office. You're ready to get answers. But what exactly should you be asking for? Let's break it down. The 3 main ways PCOS is diagnosed. 1. Blood tests to check hormone levels, especially testosterone, insulin, and estrogen. 2. Ultrasound to see if your ovaries have multiple small cysts. 3. Symptom review and medical history, because PCOS is diagnosed based on patterns, not just one test. Real story. Jessica, 27 years old. Jessica had been to 3 different doctors. Each one told her the same thing: lose weight and your symptoms will go away. But when she asked for a blood test to check her hormones, one doctor actually laughed at her. She almost gave up, until she found a specialist who finally took her seriously. Her testosterone levels were sky high, and an ultrasound confirmed the diagnosis. She had PCOS all along. The sad part? She wasted 10 years feeling unheard. This is why self-advocacy matters. If a doctor dismisses your concerns, don't be afraid to get a second opinion. One of the biggest problems with PCOS? It doesn't always show up the same way for everyone. Some women have cysts on their ovaries, some don't. Some gain weight, some don't. This is why so many people go undiagnosed for years. Why doctors miss PCOS? They only focus on weight gain. ignoring thin women who have PCOS too. They assume irregular periods are just stress. They don't test for insulin resistance, a huge part of PCOS. They dismiss symptoms like acne and facial hair as just bad luck. Real story, Lisa, 31 years old. Lisa wasn't overweight. She wasn't trying to get pregnant. So when she told her doctor she had irregular periods, the doctor waved it off. It's just stress, they said. But when Lisa started having intense sugar cravings and noticed dark patches on her skin, she knew something was wrong. Finally, a doctor ran blood work and found out she had insulin resistance, a huge red flag for PCOS. This is why it's important to know the full picture. PCOS is more than just period problems, it's a metabolic disorder too. PCOS might not have a cure, but it can be managed. The key is lifestyle changes and targeted treatments. Lifestyle changes that help. Fix your diet. Cut sugar and processed foods. Focus on whole foods. Strength training and cardio. Not just for weight loss, but to improve insulin resistance. Balance your hormones naturally. Spearmint tea, omega-3, vitamin D, inositol. Medication, if necessary, birth control, metformin, or hormone therapy, if prescribed. Real story. Jessica, 29 years old. Jessica was done feeling miserable. She stopped drinking soda, started lifting weights, and added supplements like inositol and omega-3. It took a few months, but she saw real change. Her period returned, her acne cleared, and she lost weight. She finally felt in control of her body again. Real-life case. Sarah's story, 35 years old. Sarah struggled with PCOS for years but made a complete lifestyle turnaround. She started weight training, cut out refined carbs, and added supplements. Within a year, her symptoms improved, and she finally conceived her first baby. Small changes, big results. The power to control PCOS is in your hands. No quick fixes, no magic pills, just consistent, sustainable habits. If you're young and don't have PCOS yet, is there a way to prevent it? The truth is, some people are genetically prone to it, but you can reduce your risk. Ways to lower your risk. Early on. Watch your blood sugar levels. Avoiding insulin resistance is key. Stay active from a young age. Movement helps regulate hormones. Avoid processed foods and refined carbs. These spike insulin and worsen hormone imbalances. Real story. Nina, 15 years old. Nina's mom had PCOS, so she wanted to be proactive. She made small changes, walking daily, eating more protein, cutting back on sugar. By 20, she had no symptoms. She took control before PCOS could take control of her. The earlier you start, the better your chances of preventing it. Here's the thing. PCOS doesn't define you. It doesn't make you broken. And you are not alone. Whether you're fighting chin hair, weight gain, fertility struggles, or just feeling tired of not being heard, your story matters. You deserve answers. You deserve health. You deserve to feel good in your own body. So let's stop whispering about PCOS and start talking about it loud and proud. Like this video if you felt seen. Share it with a friend who needs to hear it. And subscribe. Because here on Sit Here with Teenagers, we don't gatekeep health. We normalize it. Join this growing community. Let's build a space where hormonal girls unite and thrive. Because if we're going through it, we might as well glow through it too.